Am I the a-hole for using my son's college fund to pay for my daughter's wedding? I, 50F, have been married to my husband, 52M, for almost 27 years. Together, we raised two kids, Mark, 21M, and Chloe, 24F. From the moment they were born, my husband and I made it our mission to give them the kind of opportunities we never had. We both came from working-class families and paid our way through school with loans, scholarships, and endless part-time jobs. It was exhausting, and we swore our kids would never have to go through the same thing if we could help it. So, we did what so many parents dream of doing. We set up college funds for each of them. Every month, without fail, we contributed. We skipped vacations, drove our cars longer than we probably should have, and lived modestly because we had a bigger picture in mind. By the time Chloe and Mark were ready for college, we had saved up enough for both of them to graduate without taking on a single penny of debt. I was so proud of that fact. It felt like one of our biggest accomplishments as parents. Chloe used her fund responsibly. She always wanted to be a teacher, and she followed through with it. She graduated, started working, and is now building a life she truly loves. She's engaged to a wonderful man who treats her with so much respect and kindness. They're not flashy or wealthy by any means. Teachers don't exactly make big bucks, and her fiancé works a regular job, but they're hardworking, grounded, and genuinely happy. They're planning their wedding for next year, and honestly, I couldn't be prouder of her. Mark, on the other hand, well, his path has been a little different. He started college 2 years ago, but to be blunt, he hated it. He's always been more interested in his social media presence. Since high school, he's had this fascination with YouTube, TikTok, and anything that let him build an online following. He's charismatic, funny, and creative. I'll give him that, but his priorities have always been in his channel, his audience, and his online brand. Last semester, he officially dropped out. He said college was a waste of time and money, a scam for sheep. He insisted he would be a millionaire before his friends even walked across the graduation stage, all thanks to his crypto investments and his influencer career. My husband and I were disappointed. We'd spent years preparing for his education, after all, but at the same time, he's an adult. We told him we didn't agree, but ultimately his life is his to live. Here's where things get messy. Mark's college fund. He had about $40,000 left in it. It's just been sitting there since he dropped out. My husband and I never explicitly said, "This is now yours to do whatever you want with." To us, it was always very clear. This money was for education. Period. Not a toy, not a slush fund, not a startup for a YouTube career. Fast forward a few months ago, Chloe and her fiancé were looking at their wedding budget, and they were heartbroken. They'd fallen in love with a venue, but it was way out of their price range. They were trying to make cuts everywhere, shortening the guest list, scaling back the food, even considering eloping. I could see how disappointed she was, and as a mom, it broke my heart. That's when I had an idea. I brought it up to my husband one night while we were having dinner. What if we used some of Mark's leftover college fund to help Chloe with the wedding? My reasoning was simple. That money was always meant for a major life milestone, college. Since Mark had chosen not to pursue that path, why let the money sit idle? Helping Chloe start her married life seemed like a meaningful, family-oriented way to use it. My husband agreed. We didn't use all of it, just $15,000. Enough to make Chloe's dream venue a reality and take some stress off her shoulders. When we told her, she burst into tears. She hugged us both and said she couldn't believe how lucky she was. She and her fiancé were so grateful, and for the first time in months, she looked genuinely excited about her wedding instead of stressed out. We didn't tell Mark. Honestly, we didn't think we had to. In our minds, it wasn't his money. It was money we saved with a very specific purpose in mind, and he had rejected that purpose. We figured there was no reason to stir the pot. Well, of course, life doesn't work out that smoothly. Last week, Mark found out. A friend of his is also getting married at the same venue, and apparently, he made a comment about how surprised he was that Chloe could suddenly afford it. Mark came to me, suspicious, and asked point-blank if we had helped. I told him the truth. He exploded. He said we stole his future and betrayed him. He accused me of always favoring Chloe and said that money was his, that he was planning to use it for new camera equipment and to invest in crypto. He went on this rant about how just because he wasn't following our boomer life script didn't mean we had the right to take away his shot at building something different. He stormed out. Since then, he's blocked me and my husband on everything, phone, social media, the works. The only thing he left us with were some parting words. "You'll regret this when I'm successful and never speak to you again." Now, the family is divided. My sister is furious with me. She said the money was morally his, no matter what. Chloe feels guilty for accepting the money at all, and she's worried her wedding will forever be tainted by this fight. My husband is still standing by me, but I'll admit, I'm starting to question myself. On one hand, I don't think we did anything wrong. That money was saved for college. Mark opted out. We simply redirected it to another major milestone in our daughter's life. To me, it feels like a responsible decision. On the other hand, I can't deny that Mark feels betrayed, and maybe we should have handled it differently. Maybe we should have had a sit-down conversation before touching a penny. Maybe we underestimated how possessive he felt about that money, even if we never intended it to be his free cash. Now Chloe's wedding planning, which should be the happiest time of her life, is overshadowed by this giant family rift. And I'm left asking myself, so, am I the a-hole for giving my daughter money from her brother's college fund after he dropped out?